What's going on, guys? It's your boy Burroaks77. I'm coming to you live on GoldBoys Network, sponsored by Pickett, sponsored by Sleeper. Shout out. I'm here with my boy Jlboogy. We're talking some baseball. He's probably going to drive the show after this because I'm not going to lie. I'm coming into this one red hot. I've been on family vacation, posted up on the beach, drinking beer for the last 7 days. And before that, I went over to Ypsilanti / Ann Arbor and did Michigan's Big Beer Fest over there. So I've been pretty much just chugging beer and sitting in the sun for 10 days straight. And so I'm going to let my partner drive the show.
And what you didn't see before he started that was that we just staked him in the heart, Uma Thurman style from Pulp Fiction, so that he would have the energy to just rattle off the sponsors, and I didn't have to do it, and then we can kind of get into it. So, welcome back, my man. I'm glad to see you got the checkers in you, so that at least you got the grease flowing through you now, and you'll be soaking up that alcohol and back to yourself in no time. I think we're gonna go through baseball, man. It's baseball day. Honestly, we had such a crappy duty slate yesterday. We don't have
Yo,
any day games again, so I'll complain about that for Will Hill since he's not here.
MLB, give us Friday day games. Like
What's
any other day of the week, one,
right,
maybe 2 day games.
right.
It's Friday. Everybody in the world
We're
wants
checked
to
out.
cut out of work and go
We're
to a
checked
game at
out.
noon.
Yeah. We're checked on on the West Coast out here. If there's day games, 9:30 a.m., I'm gambling on sports. What do you mean? That's perfect. Why are you stealing that from me? So I agree with that, but there's still a lot on the slate tonight, and there's guys coming back. Judge is back in the lineup tonight. We've got a new face in LA, Lucas Giolito, your former boy, I'm sure, out there in
Yo,
Chicago. So I guess where do you want to start? Do you have a couple of best bets for today that you're looking at?
sure, yeah. So I was talking pre-show, and I know that we have a pretty big Yankees following and stuff like that, but I really like Grayson Rodriguez today on the bump. So he is pretty much Baltimore's #1 prospect. He got sent down. They called him back up. When he got called back up, he pitched away at Tampa Bay, had 6 strikeouts there, only gave up 2 earned runs. I believe they ended up winning that game too. Not positive on that one, but I really liked what I was seeing out of him. He's got good stuff. He's got good K numbers, and especially if Judge is going to be back in the lineup and hasn't played an MLB game in a while, I think that's a pretty prime strikeout target. He might take you yard, but that's also a pretty good strikeout target there. So I really like the fact that you're getting about plus 110 on his over 5.5 Ks over at DK. I just put that bet in about 20 minutes ago. So I really like the spot for him. I like how the Orioles have been playing. They've been red hot lately. That offense is popping. They're backing him up on the bump. I think it's a good spot for him. Now, I know he is going against Cole, but I think there's a lot of value here on just a little sprinkle. So I put probably zero point 0.8 units on his Ks, and I took 0.2 units, little plus 310 action on the win. Because if the bats can pop against Cole, I think this guy, I think Rodriguez can get it done on the mound, record the win today. Orioles pen's decent as long as the bats are working for him. Little 310 on the sprinkle. Night. I think that's a really nice price.
Wow. 310 on the sprinkle with that logic, over 15 and a half outs at plus 120 doesn't sound bad either, does it? For him to pitch
No, it
into the
doesn't. I
sixth.
know he stretched out to 17 in his first start back. I know he was pulled at 15 pretty much all of his starts the first time he was called up, but he has been pitching better. It looks like they're giving him a longer leash. Looks like they trust him. I agree with H in chat. Judge's first plate appearance is a strikeout. I think that's a nice angle there too. But yeah, I think that he's got a little more leash. I think he got a lot more experience in the minors, had a taste of the big leagues, and I like him. I really liked what
Yeah.
I saw out of him in that game versus Tampa.
Yeah, he's got the stuff for sure. Not sure if he'll ever get the K-Rod nickname. I think that's pretty much taken. So, unfortunately, he'll have to be G-Rod, but I like him too. I mean, he was awful when he came up the first time, went back down and was like the best pitcher in the minors
Yeah,
for, 4 or 5 straight starts. I love the Judge first plate appearance strikeout. Like I could not love that anymore. I'm wondering where what that's at, and I was just looking for it, but I'll find it in a bit. If you have it out there, H, shout it out in the chat. That'd be awesome. Where you found that bet. But
Uh,
the other one that he's talking about here is actually one that I was going to get into, and I don't have anything for that game. By the way, outside of what you're talking about, like I'm not going to tell you not to do what you're doing. Garrett Cole scares me. He's been angry lately, and when he gets big and angry, he's pretty
yeah.
freaking good. So the W, whatever, man, sprink that on there. I'm totally good with
Yeah,
that.
it's a plus
You know,
310. That's
yeah,
why I'm
exactly.
only throwing zero
Yeah,
point 0.2 units on it. But I think I like the correlation between if he gets the strikeout number that I'm looking for, I think if he can K 6 batters in 6 innings worth of work, I think that's a good bet that he will go. I think he'll go long enough to get the win tonight. And if the bats can just get a couple on Cole, even if they take him yard once or twice,
yeah,
that might be all it takes. This might be a low scoring one, but
yeah.
the Yankees suck. Like, I'm sorry, guys, the Yankees fucking suck.
They do.
I was talking with Tone earlier. Like, if you take out the fact that they're 9-1 against like the A's and like the Cubs or something
The
like that,
Royals.
they're below 500 team.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. They suck. And I'm happy to fade them. I'm gonna move over to the Marlins game just for 1 sec. It's not definitely a game I'm looking too hard at, but I actually was putting out a feeler for the Tigers to actually win this game as the dog, to be honest.
For
And
sure.
H just was mentioning that he wants Garrett to record a win at plus 180, but Braxton Garrett's been bad, and that's kind of
Yes.
what scares me, and that's kind of what I've been looking at. So, um, you
He
know,
hasn't gotten out of the 5th
right.
inning in what, 3 games?
And that's really the sample size here is the last 3 starts. It's 18 in the third. It's a 7.85 ERA. The expected ERA is lower than that, but not that. It's like still a 5.5 or whatever. So like he's the thing is he's striking guys out. But
Yeah.
he's not walking guys. But that's because he's
No,
throwing the ball over the plate.
that's the other thing. He's still only walking max one guy a game.
But he's throwing the ball over the plate every time. That's
Right. He's
why
throwing meatballs out there.
and that's why the barrel rate's at like 10.5%. And right, like these guys are hitting getting hard hit balls against him nearly like 50% of the time. This isn't 3 starts, and he's been mad impressive other than that at times. There's a slight correlation between the Marlins and how they're doing as a team and Braxton Garrett, it feels like at times. But the plus 130 on DraftKings, I actually hit that last night for the Tigers to win on the money line there. I think they do get a little bit of the edge in the bullpen too. So the plus 130 doesn't really scare me. I'm a Reese Olson guy too. I think he's going to be legit in the majors on the Tigers. Had to drop him in fantasy because he doesn't go past 5, but he's also got like pretty much the same K rate and as low a walk rate as Braxton Garrett does. So I don't know there's much of an edge there in that one. I don't know if you saw anything in that game.
No, I have been watching the Tigers though. I was pretty invested in that Shohei. I had his over Ks. Holy fuck, was that a sweat? His
Yeah,
first ever complete game shutout, and he goes 3 innings without getting a K, and then gets it on the second to last batter. So
amazing.
I was pretty relieved on that. But yeah, I mean, being in Michigan for vacation, I couldn't figure out how to work the TV super good. It took like I had to read a fucking guide at this rental house to figure out how to work the TV. Once it was on, it just stayed on like ESPN, and I just would throw the Tigers game on every day while I'm coming in to make a sandwich and get more beers. So yeah, I watched a lot of the Tigers. They've been playing well.
Yeah.
Bats have been popping when they're making contact. They're playing good ball. They just ran into a red hot Angels team. You want
Yeah.
to get you got a best bet you want to do in that, because I want to
Yeah.
talk a little about the Angels, because obviously I'm a
Get into it.
Sox guy, so I want to talk Cubs stocks, and that'll
Okay.
tie into how the Angels picked up Giolito and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
So, yeah, before we get into that, I did tell you I'm just, like, dumping my money into this Pittsburgh-Philly game, and I've been fading Pittsburgh for a while, so
Their
I took both.
lineup has been atrocious,
Oh,
dude.
yeah. Yeah, they I mean, they gave up. I love when a baseball team says with 65 games left, like, "We're calling everybody up. We don't care. We're gonna pitch Mitch Keller into the 8th even when he's giving up 6 whatever," right? Like, they just don't care
Which
as
is
much
why I'm
anymore.
on Keller today, by the way, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. There's ways to bet on Keller
Philly,
even though
they could crank off 8 runs against him, but they'll still strike out 10 times. Like
totally. He's
I
great.
hate Schwarber. Like, he does draw a lot of walks and he does have pop, but like your leadoff guy can't strike out 30% of the time. It's just it's
Totally.
ridiculous.
At least he's not in the outfield anymore. He's mostly
Right.
DH
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah. At
but
least he's not costing you runs in the outfield
literally
anymore.
runs multiple. So that's why look, the defense is not good for the Phillies, but it's better. And Wheeler's been dealing. I mean, he has given up 3 in a couple of over his last 5 starts, but you know, the ERA is down to like a 2.88,
And he's
2.68
pitching
actually.
longer
So
into the games.
yeah,
I faded his under outs for so long because they just kept setting him at 18 and a half, and he
yeah,
would always just get pulled right after the
right.
sixth.
Yeah.
Last 2 games, he's gone 21, so he's gone 7 full.
Yeah, and it's at 18 and a half again, but you can still get it plus money. And so he's just turned it around. Like, it's actually, if you look at him and Mitch Keller, it's like Keller started up here and is down
Yep.
here, and vice versa for
It's
Wheeler.
Wheeler's season too. If the
Yeah,
Phillies want a shot at the playoffs, like
yeah,
they need Wheeler to show up, they need Nola to show up, they need this pen to start
totally.
fucking hurling like they were last year.
Yep, and those 2 dudes are nasty right now. So, I mean, Wheeler's got the highest WAR of any pitcher
Yeah,
in the league because he pitches so many innings, you know, is the main reason, and he keeps your bullpen from getting used. So, I mean, the Phillies pen is fine too, though. Like, it's a good
right.
bullpen. It's like top 7 in the league basically,
They
in
still
every way
got
that
Harper
matters.
playing
So
first over there.
yeah, yep,
Okay.
that's to keep Schwarber on the bench for when the
It's a
defense
great
is on the
call.
field.
He made that
Yeah,
sick catch at first the other
yep.
day. So,
Yep. So, I mean, just to be clear what the bets are, like, I'm taking the money line and first 5 money line. I hit them both, and then I also
yo,
took a little player performance double on FanDuel for Wheeler to get just 6 Ks plus the Phillies money line. That's minus 105 on
I like
FanDuel.
that.
So I get 6 Ks. He's at 7.5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt pretty good about that because I already love the money line bet so much. And those Pittsburgh bats, man, against right-handed pitching, since they were like waving the white flag, they're dead last, dead fucking last in batting average, third in OPS, third worst, fourth worst WRC, like seventh highest K rate,
Yeah.
just everything. They're bad on offense. So the 18 and a half outs for him, don't hate it. I mean, he's like you said, he's been going the 7, and they do trust the bullpen. The only thing that would suck is if he goes 6, he's already at close to 95, 100 pitches, and they're up like 5-1 because Keller's
Right.
giving up 4 bombs or something.
That's
That's how I get
definitely
screwed
the
on
issue
that.
because at that point they're like, no, our bullpen's solid. We don't need
Yeah,
why are we going to burn out his arm now? But if it is somehow a little bit tighter of a game,
right,
you know, you trust Wheeler to get it done. So
right.
I could see him leaving him out there. I'm
And
gonna
yeah,
stay.
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna stay off of the outs on this one just because, like I said, I made a lot of money fading him on that under 18 and a half. And yeah, I have some questions because if they do start running away with the game, I am concerned that he
Right.
goes all the way into the 7th.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with it. I also am gonna take Scherzer. It's juiced down too far to take at this point. It's minus 185 for him to get 6 Ks. It was minus 150 when I took it, so I still like that. That 30 cents is it's gone for me for taking Scherzer 5.5. But the 6.5 isn't bad. It's just the Nats don't strike out against right-handed pitching.
Yeah,
And they've played some bad pitching in as of late. Guys like Peter Lambert and Alex Wood and Desclafani on the Giants. Like, those are the guys they're not striking out 6 times against. 7 of their last 10 games, they've struck out 6 times as a squad against right-handed pitching. So I'm still trusting that Max Scherzer, who has to go. I mean, David Robertson's now on the Marlins. You don't have a bull. That was your bullpen. That Mets
right.
bullpen is atrocious. And that means that Verlander and Max Scherzer are going to literally throw till their arms fall off at this point, especially because Verlander might get traded, some trade deadline stuff. But
Yeah,
I think they're just going to have to lean on him. Like, I would even take him for, I think he might be at 18 and a half outs now. But if you can get Scherzer at 17 and a half too, I would still take that. So that's mainly that's where my money is tied up for today already.
for sure.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, I am on Keller's over. I got in at a nice price this morning. I think it was minus 104, minus 102, something around there. I haven't kept an eye on where the market's been going, but I like Keller pretty much to about, minus 115. If it's lower than that, shoot me a message. I'll let you know if I'd still take the price.
For sure.
I'd say it's probably good to about minus 120.
Bet.
But
What do
yeah,
you
I
want to say?
definitely, I
You got some Shohei
definitely,
stuff?
yeah. So I want to talk because it all kind of ties in. I have to rage about the Cubs White Sox series because, like, how the fuck are you up 7-2 and you blow that fucking game and lose 10-7, White Sox. That's absolutely embarrassing. That's your crosstown rival. I gotta hear about that shit for the rest of the summer. It's terrible. And I know like Lance Lynn's a workhorse and you put him out there, but like you gotta just I hate the White Sox. I think that I don't think that we're in for a retool. I'm team sell the team. You need new management. You need a new front office. Burn it to the ground. They're telling people, everybody who calls, no, we're not trading Cease. We're not trading Cease. Fucking trade him. Trade Tim Anderson. Get rid of everybody before Tuesday because we suck and I don't see us getting better. I don't see any way how this team, as it stands right now, competes for shit next year.
Let me can Tim Anderson's stock be any lower? Because if it can't, then I think that might be one that you might as well hold on to.
But you see, like I'm a fan of like I like Tim Anderson. I'd like to see him go somewhere else that maybe he can restart his career, like jumpstart it. Like it would be good for Tim Anderson to get out of Chicago.
Yeah.
Just like it's good for Giolito to get out of Chicago. They both had some off the field stuff that's not going well for them in Chicago. Get an opportunity in new city. I think it's good for him. That said, too, like this trade, like the Angels better make the playoffs right now. So, like, they better make the playoffs and they better be able to resign Shohei because you just gave the Sox your top prospect and you don't have prospects. Your farm system, your minor league system, your draft picks have sucked. They're rated like what, the number 2, number 3 worst team before they made this trade. And now they're like the worst prospect system. They got nothing. They got nobody to commit. So just like you have to be all in on making the playoffs here and getting Shohei to resign. So what are your moves now? Like who you gotta go get another arm.
I mean, the cool thing is we're at the point of the season where you know who's trying. You know who's going balls to the wall, and everything you're saying is why like I'm actually fine continuing to bet on the Angels when they have the right pitcher on the mound and obviously in the right matchup. And like I made a decent amount of money off them yesterday, betting on Shohei in game 1 and just betting on them to win both games and the Tigers pitchers to not win.
Shout out the Tigers' 2 best pitchers, Lorenz and what's his name? Yeah, both of them hit their over K number pretty easily because I mean the Angels do strike out. They've been winning games and they can hit the long ball, but they strike out a shit ton. So like when I saw both of those guys open at 4.5 lines, I definitely threw some change on them because I'm like, these guys fucking strike out. Like, what was it? Lorenz struck out the side after giving up like I think he gave up a hit to the leadoff guy and then struck out 3 in a row. I'm like, I'm taking Manning next game.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Manning was really impressive in that one too. It's still, and then they ended up with 11 runs though. Impressive in terms of getting it by people. But yeah, the Angels are hitting way above their pay grade, man. With guys like Trout and everybody else that's on the bench still. Rendon still has he ever played for the Angels? So yeah, it's really impressive. I still have a bet with Will now.
I won here for the Angels too, right? Like they've won like their last 2 or 3 series in a row.
Yeah. No, yeah, they have. And I think it's like 5 of 6 now, but I don't know that they're going to catch the Rangers or the Stros, who are both also trying to win this division pretty obviously. The Rangers are down to -115. That wasn't that long ago. You could still get them for like 2-1 to win the division. They took a game on the Stros the other day when they came back and beat the snot out of them because Marcus Semien.
Yeah, I got super pissed. I had the Stros starter who got absolutely fucking rocked, but under K's Gray.
Framber?
No, I had Gray the other day. And he got his ass kicked, but still somehow found 8 strikeouts or some shit like that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no. So I mean, for the Angels, I think you can keep kind of riding with them as you're saying. Did you have any other best?
Yeah, so I know. So Giolito went straight from the game when he got traded up to Toronto. He's been in Toronto waiting for this game, and we were talking pre-show. I'm like, is something going on with Toronto? I've been offline for the last 10 days. I'm going through. I'm like, dude, all these starters have been hitting their K numbers. Like Toronto was a pretty K adverse team there for a while, but like in the last 10, in their last 10 games, 8 of 10 starters have gone over their numbers. So like, that Giolito number at over 5.5 seems kind of enticing tonight.
Yeah. So did they pull it? Did they
The
pull that?
Giolito
Oh, no, here
line?
it is. My bad. They didn't have stuff up on DraftKings. They don't have pitcher props up or anything for that game. I went
Okay.
over to FanDuel, but yeah, they're still bringing stuff up. But yeah, so 5.5 for him. You have that on FD?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's right around -110, -115.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, like Gio, he, he liked Chicago, but like it was time for him to move on. And I know he's had some off the field stuff, getting divorced from his wife, new city, new opportunity. They just traded for you. The Angels are in win now mode. I think Giolito might come out and have a big game tonight. I think
Mm.
that number is pretty fair on Gio for 5.5 Ks. I know he only got him. I want to say he only got him for 4 so far this season. Yeah, he got him for 4. But that was at home with that shitty Sox bullpen and the no run support. So
Yeah.
I think he might. I think he might have a nice night tonight.
Yeah, no, that's fair against that lineup too. I mean, if they are going to be Kang like that, yeah, for a while they were fine, but you do expect a decent amount of these guys to K at points for the Blue Jays. What about Gossman's all the way down to -130 for him to get 8,
No, I'm not.
right?
I would never drink -130 for a guy
Yeah,
to fucking basically K 1.5 batters an inning.
yeah, literally. And I mean, obviously, well, I think
Unless
he's
it's
leading the league,
Strider.
but
If I would pay
Strider.
-130 for Strider to get 8 Ks, and I would do it with a fucking smile on my face.
That's got to be what it is moving forward until he stops getting 10 strikeouts a game.
Dude, it's ridiculous. His line's been 9.5 like every time he starts. Like
Yeah,
the guy is
yeah, he's
ridiculous.
out of control. He is. I know we don't need to give a sleeper pick, but I did make one because I finally hit like my first fucking ever bet on sleeper picks the
Oh,
other
nice.
day.
It just took me going on vacation for us to get.
No, I didn't give it, dude. I didn't give the play that I hit on
I
on
didn't
sleeper. I
even
let
give it
Brad
out.
go. I was
You
like,
gotta
Brad
be
was like,
like
"Yo,"
such a bag of dicks.
I know. I was like, Brad had it, and then I was like, "Nah, go for it, man." And then mine hit, but we didn't give it out. And I was like, "I'm not even gonna bring it up on the show." But what I did hit, looking
So
at my
Friday.
yeah, dude. And I know we don't even have to do this, but shout out the great sponsorship that we have going there.
Facts. Love
Um,
sleeper.
yeah, so
We're just not very good at
oh, I
it.
know I took it. I was within the window of Musgrove getting over half a K was the special they were giving. So I
Oh,
took
nice.
Musgrove over half a K and I still got it at like plus 190. And then I combined it with Wheeler to get the 18 and a half outs.
Nice.
So I need him to go into that 7th, man.
I hope you get it, man. I hope
I
he's out
know.
there. I hope he's dealing efficiently. I mean,
Yeah.
he could get through. He could have a 3 pitch inning on the Pirates. Like especially if he's getting something that they're new hitters. I would be up there taking rips. Like the team's bad. That they don't give a fuck whether or not you win or lose. Like
Yep.
get up there and take some rips.
Yep. Totally. Just to let everybody know too, in the chat, I'm talking to my guy Brett Burns over here, and we
Yeah,
both
I'm
agree that
seeing
we're hitting
he's
the
like
Wheeler
in the
ladder.
Wheeler ladder a little bit.
Yeah, and there's just something so satisfying about saying Wheeler ladder that I have to take it now. And you can get 4-1 on the 10Ks on FanDuel right now. So like, yeah, I
I
feel
might
like
I
laddering
might
up
do a
to
little
10.
PPD ladder on that with you just for a little sprinkle on the
Yeah,
higher end action stuff. Because I,
let's
I
do
am pretty invested in Keller. Like your boy Burns is saying, like the games he struggled in were games like Cleveland, Arizona, dudes who
yep,
just don't strike out a lot.
yep,
I know Arizona's been kind of up and down because their lineup's been in flux, but like, dude, Cleveland just doesn't strike out again
yeah,
this year.
yeah, which is crazy. They and Josh Naylor's such a freaking stud this year. Takes so long to find these freaking player performance levels. Yeah, that's a man. Laddering the player performance level sounds sexy. Honestly, if you want to have a fun Friday,
Yeah.
you get that shit all the way up to like 50-1, and it's for like 9 of them. So that's pretty good. I would do that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because
I
this
might throw
Pirates
like
lineup
a
is
little
bad.
point .1 unit on like the 8 and 9 PPD there for Wheeler
Yeah,
because you talked me into it.
yeah,
Listen, it's not that I don't like the Phillies. I like the Phillies when they're hitting, they play fun baseball. It's just when they can't find the baseball, I hammer any mediocrely good pitcher. I
Yeah.
hammer their Ks because they love striking out, dude.
Totally. And when you're going up against this lineup, man, my God. Tell me how many guys you've heard of between Sawinski, Reynolds, obviously Reynolds, McCutcheon, Choi, Davis, Triolo, Peguero. I want to say Nico Gonzalez, but I don't. He's a rook actually, so I don't even know which Gonzalez this is. That sounded wrong, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
you lost me after what? Choi, I know him
Oh,
from
it's
Pittsburgh.
yeah,
McCutcheon,
dude. You got a
but yeah,
ton of.
there's like three guys I know from that lineup from the beginning of the year
You
in
know the
Pittsburgh.
ghost of Andrew McCutcheon is what we're playing with
Oh yeah, I
nowadays.
do know. Do know that they're running the corpse of Andrew McCutcheon out
Exactly.
there.
So hopefully Mitch Keller. I mean, look, they're just going to keep him in because what the hell else are they going to do? So yeah, I think Zach
Why
Wheeler
not?
should get
Yeah,
a deal. What's that?
yeah. Why not? Like
Yeah,
that.
why
That
not?
was
Yeah,
my logic behind it too. Is like Mitch Keller has a lot of leash,
yeah,
and
and you've
with
got
the
three.
amount that the Phillies can strike out, getting
Yeah,
six, like you
the,
can roll out a bet and strike out six Phillies players.
right. Yeah, and I mean the Phils and the Pirates have been striking out a lot. So I mean, yeah, this is the game where I'm just basically putting most of my money. It looks like, and I'm not going to be touching much else on a big slate. So that I'm probably either going to be really happy after one game or I'm going to have a shitty Friday night. So we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. But anything else you got for us today, Oaks?
Um. Not a ton. So, like I said, I haven't t- looked at the board a ton. We did. I think that Houston Tampa Bay game is going to be a good game. You know, which Christian Javier wants
Yeah.
to show up, which Shane McClellan wants to show up. I don't even. Do you have a line
Yeah,
in
I
front of
think
you?
Shane
Like, what's the
O'Mac's gonna
money line on
I
that
think
game?
Shane O'Mac is back, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, at least in his last start because he burned me and I tried to take under thinking they weren't gonna run him out there for more than 5, and they ran him out there for 7 full innings. And so Tampa is, -115 favorite, and the Stros are -105 with Javier on the mound.
Okay, I would think about. I know it's tough to go down to Tampa, and I know they
Yeah.
have a decent team, but
They've
dude,
been
Stroh's
shit
been
lately.
hot lately.
And Tampa's been shit, like, as when you
Tampa's
left,
been
they were
shit in
bad.
the
It's
bed.
only been worse since you left, the
Oh,
world
dude,
contenders.
no, trust me, I had a lot of money on Zach Eflin, and I'm like, I came up from the beach, and
I'll
I'm
bring
like,
him up
it's
right
probably
now.
like the fourth or the fifth. I'll check, see if he's anywhere near his K number. I'm like, oh, he got his ass kicked and yanked in the fourth. Okay, cool. $50 down the drain. I'm gonna grab 3 more cold bush lights and go back to the beach.
We here on the 1 o'clock show that day specifically were heavy on Flynn.
Yeah,
And
I was
Brian got
too.
smacked. Will got smacked. Will's had a really good week betting baseball this week, but there's been 2 big bets that he lost that where he just got dicked. But anyway, yeah, no, I think in that game right now with the way that like I said, I've been watching McClanahan since he came back. For, like, he missed like 3 weeks and came back and 2
Yeah.
starts, looked really good. So I would consider an under. You just worry about Javier getting blown up in that one. Is the problem if he
Yeah,
starts giving up home runs.
I don't know. I feel like if you could get minus 105 is not terrible on the juice, but like
Yeah,
if you could get a plus number on Stroh's money line,
yeah,
I might dabble on that.
yeah. Might be worth it. See if I mean, the Rays also have a good pen, so yeah, there's not much there for me in that game, to be honest. It's still gonna be a good game, but I also need the Rangers to win the division so I can get $200 off of Will
I
because he's got
know,
the
I know
scrub.
you're big on the Rangers to win that
Yeah,
division because
need it to happen. But what's happening
I
to
was
that
trying to
team?
I was trying to talk about the game and Will's like, I don't care about your opinion. Tell me Jlboogie's wrong. And I'm like, okay, fine, Houston. I don't give a
You're
fuck.
like, then don't ask me a question. Just tell me what the
Right,
fuck you
yeah,
want me to say.
right. We're doing it. I thought we were doing a show. I didn't know this was for your own personal. I need to hear that Jlboogie's
Always,
wrong from
dude.
somebody else.
Always. But anyway, man, yeah, I think I was gonna run through some of the stuff with the division stuff, but there's a little bit more unknown. I think once the trade deadline settles, there's nothing I'm really trying to get ahead of necessarily because I don't think there's gonna be big enough moves to like really swing too much in terms of like a division winner. Maybe you feel better about like the Angels making the playoffs after getting a couple guys and knowing that they're kind of might not even be done buying. To be honest, they probably could use a right-handed bat if they're being honest with themselves. So I don't know if you would have anything there for like getting ahead of like, oh, this guy moves or that guy moves or this team definitely wants to improve itself. You know what I mean? I'm kind of locked in on futures. I already have the Braves at plus 380 to win it all, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave it at that.
For sure. I do want to talk about the NL Central. Cubs have been absolutely red hot, probably the hottest team in baseball since the All-Star break. You know, again, being from Chicago, I listen to a lot of the are the Cubs gonna buy? Are they gonna sell? They're only 5.5 games back in a really weak division. The Reds can't beat Milwaukee. They lost 3 series in a row to Milwaukee that completely flipped that division on its
Yeah.
head. Do
Here's
the
what I'll
Cubs
say
have
real
an
quick.
outside shot here?
The Brewers have, I think, the 5th easiest schedule remaining. That's one reason I think they're minus
And you getting
190.
Yelich playing probably his best baseball in a couple of years right now.
He
The
came over,
man's
yep.
red hot. He's playing phenomenal baseball right
Yep.
now. But I mean,
They're gonna get Woodruff back
yeah,
a couple weeks. So I don't think there's anything there for me. It's so funny that the NL Central has been the most interesting division all year, in part because no one wants to win it apparently, but
right.
now
Because
they do.
it's 3 shitty teams,
Yeah.
but somehow they're all within 5 games of each other.
And the shitty teams, it needs to be clarified. Like the Cardinals since the break are what we thought they were going to be, at least
Right.
for part of the season. And it's not like necessarily like winning 60-70% of your games, but it is like above 500 at like a 56% win clip at least.
And
So
not just striking out left, right, and center. Like the Cardinals
against
went through a phase where they
insane.
couldn't find the ball. They were
Totally.
just swinging a
Against
ghost up
lefties.
there.
They have like 4 of the best righty hitters in the game at their position, and they're striking out against lefties left and right. So, but now the way that things are shaping up in that division, I think that like the Brewers are asserting themselves. I do think they have the pitching to do it, and the Cubs are a team that has just befuddled me all season. They're hot right now. I think they can keep it going if they get another pitcher.
Yeah. I did see in chat too, Dub Tape. He said he's a White Sox fan and he doesn't think he can deal with another rebuild. What's the choice, man? Like, what choice do we have? You see this team, like you're in big fucking trouble when Jake Berger, who I like a lot, I really like him. He's a good dude, a good locker room guy. I think his wife's fucking hilarious on Twitter at the games. I love saying burger bombs.
Right.
I love the fact that he slaps the shit out of lefties. But when he's your second best hitter on the team, that's a fucking problem. That's not a team that you can go out and be like, well, we'll get a couple more pieces. And our defense sucks. Like the fact that Tim Anderson went from a lockdown shortstop to can't field a fucking ground ball is absurd to me. It blows my mind. Like
Beyond insane, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy how I think, yeah, to the point you made earlier, like the AL East has just literally feasted upon the AL Central when it's played them this year. There are every single team of that East has a winning record, and after the Guardians at 52 and 51, you're looking at some nasty, nasty records in that AL Central. So I don't the Twins winning it with like with a 50% winning percentage is gonna be insane. I I don't know what you do as a sports fan. Like, I just want hope. I just want to know that like there's gonna be a time where we could be good. But when you keep trotting out a team that is going to consistently be under 20 games under 500 and out before the All-Star break, you don't ever have hope. And if you're gonna be losing like that, why don't you just get rid of everybody, as Brett Burns says, except for Luis Roberts, by the way, because he's filthy. And so you keep Lou Bob, and then you get why not? Like if as a fan of well, I'm a fan of the Mets, so they never let that happen because they just keep buying new players all the time, and that's probably going to be the case moving forward. But in other sports, I assure you, I know what it's like to be like, no, just sell the freaking farm, man.
Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was with all my aunts, uncles, cousins, and everything. The best thing we talked about was it was the anniversary of Mark Burley's perfect game. And like I know Will roasted me a little bit, but like, I'm still it's not just that I'm a fan. Like I legitimately I know he doesn't have the ERA or the wins, but like I think there's a conversation to be had about Mark Burley in the Hall of Fame because of his only save being in the World Series, having a World Series ring, having a perfect game, having a no-hitter. Fuck it.
He's
The
got like,
no-hitter
doesn't he
too
have like
should have been a perfect game
the
because he
no
walked
should have been perfect.
Sosa. The
Yep.
ump blew the fucking call,
I know.
apologized to him, and then he picked Sosa off at first
Yep.
because he had the most lethal pickoff
You
move
sound like
in
you're over
MLB
it.
history.
At least you sound like you've gotten over it at least, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm still not just hoping that he stays on the Hall of Fame ballot so I can have this conversation every year because it's the only thing I can talk about that makes the White Sox relevant.
Yeah, that's really sad. You guys used to have Frank Thomas. We could talk about him for a while. You know what's awesome about Burley? He also
No,
had like
I don't want to go down the history of good White Sox because it makes me depressed. Like, I don't want to talk
but
about
if we
Frank
talk about,
Thomas, Paul Konerko, Aaron Rowan.
so I'm saying if you want to go down, but if you want to talk about 2005, that's one of the most fun baseball teams in the history of baseball.
One of the most, dude, they only lost one game in that whole playoff series.
They were the first, weren't they the first team ever to win they hit every milestone before every other team? 10 games, 20 games, 30 games, like 10 wins, 20 wins, 30 wins, 40 wins. I think they did that from 10 wins all the way to their like 100-win season. And man, I would love to just sit here with you and just rattle off players that played on that team. Most notably, the most fun to say
was one of my favorite players on that
the most
team.
fun to say is if you listen to the Giants broadcaster John Miller, Hall of Famer, he says Juan Uribe every time.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
so
for
great.
sure.
Love Uribe, man. But anyway, I think that's all the time we have for you guys on this one, man. It was a good show, Oaks. I think we got a lot of baseball bets in. You know what I mean? So, I mean, hopefully you guys are out there winning with us on this one. We'll be back on Monday, another full slate of sports, mostly more baseball. Hopefully we'll get some freaking day games. So for Pickett Sports and Sleeper Picks, until we see you guys next, happy betting.